Hi everybody, Adrienne here, and today I'm coming to you with a massive bad habit haul. Part of these products were bought from shophush.com and the other palettes were bought on the actual Bad Habit website that just just launched a few weeks ago. But I will get started now with the Shop Hush purchases that I made, and the first ones are going to be dupes of lots of Huda Beauty palettes. I bought the After Party palette, and actually I think it's just called the After collection. I did purchase the whole After collection, but the After Party is one of the first ones that I want to talk about. This palette looks like this, and I like the mirror in it, that it's got a nice size mirror. I won't blind you with the mirror, and it's just the 9 shades in here, and this is a very neutral, cool tone, cool to taupe look. I think it may turn out okay on me. I'm kind of curious to see if it's going to pull ashy or not, but I'm really happy to have this. I will put the price out to what these are individually. I can't remember, but I want to say when you buy the actual Huda Beauty palettes like this, that they are $27 a piece. So this is quite a bit less than that. When I did receive this particular palette though, this shade here, this Trouble shade, it's funny that it's named Trouble, and it actually did cause me trouble. It was completely crumbled. So I'm kind of curious to see what this palette is going to work like when I get to some of these frosty metallic type shades, if they can hold together or if I'm going to need to use a glitter glue with it. Shop Hush, when I did contact them and let them know that this palette was crumbled like this, they did replace it. That's why I have this one that isn't all crumbled. So I was very pleased with their customer service with that. They did get this replaced right away. And I'm going to move on to one of the next After palettes, and it was the package that I purchased was the buy all 6 of them. And I got the Afterglow palette. I know they were selling, if you bought 4, you could get those in a bundle also, but 2 more palettes were released since, 2 or 3 more palettes. I can't remember how many, but the Afterglow was one that I really wanted, and it's more of a coral palette, and I think the Huda Beauty palette that it dupes is called the Coral Obsessions, but I just love these peachy corally tones, so this will be a good spring summer palette for me. I'll probably still create some looks over the winter just so you guys can see what the palette looks like, but I'm very excited to have it in my collection. And one of the next palettes that I got is the After Dark palette, and it's just a warm palette with all your fall type shades in it, and I'm not sure if it's just called the warm palette from Huda Beauty, what it's called, but this one, and I'm going to turn it upside down so I don't get my hands in it. This one will create some nice fall looks, and this will just be an everyday palette for me. I can go super warm or keep it more kind of warm to neutral. I like that about this palette. And I am a big fan of 9-pan palettes that are color themed. It makes it so much easier for me when I'm trying to get ready quickly. I find these palettes to be a lot less overwhelming. That's why I enjoy them so much. And the next one that I got is the After Hours, and I'm not going to keep showing you guys the boxes. You get the idea. The boxes look exactly like the palettes do, but this was another palette that was damaged when it came, and it's supposed to be a dupe of the Mauve Obsessions palette. Both of my, the other palette and this palette both came damaged. As you can see, I pressed this shadow back into the palette. This palette was replaced also, but when they resent it to me, this same color had crumbled and broken all over. So I'm really curious about the formulation of how these are going to go on. And I think I might go and purchase some of the Huda Beauty Obsession palettes because I want to see if it's the same type of issue with her formulation versus the dupe palettes. But after they sent me the second one that was broken, they chose not to send another replacement. They went ahead and refunded me for the one palette, so I can understand why they didn't want to keep paying for shipping and resending palettes with the chance of one of them being broken. So I don't have one that's completely intact, but that's okay. And the next palette out of the After collection that I got is the After Charge, and I like this packaging the most. I'm a big fan of purple, but this one is not just a purple palette like what it looks like on the outside. It is actually multiple all frost shades. that would create some really good looks. You, of course, would probably need to pull in another palette to get those looks completed, though. You wouldn't be able to get a whole look out of this palette, but I do like it for the different purples. There's quite a few purples in there and some pinkish shades, pinky purple, that I think would make a really awesome look. So I like that for a little creativity and variety. And the next palette I got is the Aftershock palette. And this one is really colorful. This is a bold, in-your-face palette with all your pops of color. It's kind of nice to have a palette that's this small with the pops of color in it. Most of my other ones that are have pops of color in it like this are large 35 pan palettes that are a little bit overwhelming. This is pretty condensed, and I hope it's as pigmented as what this palette looks like, because there's some really neat stuff in here that I can't wait to work with here and there. And keeping with the Huda Beauty theme, I got this from shophush.com, and it is the Athena palette. The box, and I'll hold it up, looks exactly like the palette. And this packaging is really nice. I don't think I said enough about the packaging. The packaging feels really good and sturdy, and it feels like quality packaging. This palette, and I will blind you for just a second with the mirror. They gave a nice size mirror, but this is what the palette looks like. And this is a dupe for Huda Beauty's, I think it's called Desert Dusk palette. And to be honest with you, this is one of the first products that I can honestly say I bought it just for YouTube. This palette, I am going to try it out, but honestly, I didn't really think it looked that appealing to me from Huda Beauty or from the Shop Hush website, but I thought I wanted to get it in case I'd be missing something. And I guess I just think a lot of the base shades that I would use are just too warm almost for my skin tone, but I'm going to challenge myself and get out of the box because so many people love this palette. I look at it and I think maybe I might be missing a big surprise and I might turn out to like it in the long run. So I went ahead and ordered it, and I will probably be trying to create some looks with it soon because I want to get out of my comfort zone with that palette, and I also want to catch the fall season with that palette. I think it'll be an awesome fall palette. But got the Aphrodite palette also from Huda Beauty in the box, just like the other one. Looks exactly the same as the palette. This is a knockoff for her rose gold palette before it was remastered. I don't have that palette, and I didn't intend to buy it. I thought $65 was quite a bit of money. And also, some of these shades in that rose gold palette looked extremely chunky. And at that time, I hadn't started a retinol eye regimen. So I had quite a bit of crepey skin around the eyes, and formulations like that scared me to use because it seemed like it would sit in the crepey skin. So I passed on that palette, but I did want to try it out because I love the base shades, and some of the frosted shades, they do look really pretty to me. But like I said, I wasn't going to spend $65 on a palette that I was pretty sure would cause me some problems. So I went ahead and picked this up. I also have another dupe palette for this, and I will be duping that dupe with this palette to see which one is the best formulation. But that's why I purchased this palette, because I like the packaging on it quite a bit, and I wanted to add it to the collection. And one of the next palettes that I did purchase was the Inferno palette, and this is supposed to be a dupe for Urban Decay's, what is it called, Naked Heat palette. And I don't have that palette and won't be purchasing it, but this is what that palette looks like, and it is a very warm tone palette. I can say that I've had some play in this palette, but I'll be happy to create some looks for you guys and do a review on it. I've worn this palette 2 or 3 times, so I can give you a full review when I create the look of this palette for you guys. Getting into some of the other palettes that Bad Habit is duped from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is what this packaging looks like, and this is probably one of my favorite packages out of all of the palettes. This is the Artistry Palette, and I was so excited that they went ahead and duped this palette because I didn't even get to see the original Anastasia Beverly Hills. I think it's the Mario, I think it was called Mario Master palette. I didn't get to see that palette, so I never had the chance to buy it. And once I did see pictures of the old palette, I liked it a lot and knew that I wanted it. So when they did the dupe of it, I bought it immediately, and I've had some time to play in this palette. So I do know what the formulation works like, but I will do a review on this palette. It won't be a first impression when I get into it and let you guys know what I think of it. But I'm really excited, like I said, that they decided to go back to a palette that wasn't still current and go ahead and dupe it. And I've got another Anastasia Beverly Hills dupe palette, and it is the, what is this, the Retro Love palette, and it's a dupe for the Subculture palette, which I do own the Subculture palette, and after a lot of the controversy with the Subculture palette, it was nice that they came out with a dupe palette to give some of the people that were so unhappy with that palette some different options if they like the color scheme a lot. And I've worn this palette 2 or 3 times, so I've got some more than a first impression on it, and we'll be glad to do a review of it and create some looks. And I also have another palette that dupes this palette. So not only will I dupe this palette with the Subculture palette, but I'll also dupe it with another dupe and let you know which one I think has the best formulation. So the Retro Love, I'm also excited to own. And keeping with the Anastasia Beverly Hills dupes, I did pick up the Arabesque palette. And the Arabesque palette is a dupe for the new Soft Glam palette that came out at the, I think, spring or beginning of summer. Anastasia Beverly Hills released that. And I haven't picked that palette up. The palette, this is just beautiful color scheme, is right up my alley for neutrals. I haven't decided if I'm going to get the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette or not. It is $42, and I think this one was $16. It's a bunch of neutral colors. They're the perfect neutral colors for me, but I do have lots of neutral palettes, but I do like some of the frost shades in there. And I also have another dupe palette for this that I will be duping the 2 dupes against each other, but I haven't decided. I may go ahead and pick up the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette just to compare the formulation with this dupe palette and the other one that I have. So I'll keep you guys posted on what I decide to do with that. And the box looks exactly like the palette, and I think it's really pretty the way they've designed it. And the last palette that I got along with that Huda Beauty dupe, the Aphrodite palette, and it is the Luna palette, and it's another dupe, and the box looks exactly like the palette, for Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette that released over the summer. This palette does look a little messy right now because I just got finished filming a first impression get ready with me look using this palette, so probably in sometime during this week that video will get uploaded so you guys can see what this palette was like for me to work with and my first impression on it. When I first saw this palette, I wasn't sure that I wanted it at all. When the palette was first released, it looked like the colors in here were going to be too cool tone for me, but once I saw it in person, I was out in Vegas a month ago and saw the palette in a Sephora, and once I saw the palette live, I thought that the Real Norvina palette was beautiful, but I wasn't sure that I wanted to spend the $42 on it, so I decided to go for the Luna palette and try it out first. But you'll have to wait and see after trying it what some of my first impressions were and what I thought of the palette once I upload that new video. And with these orders, when I did order from shophush.com, because I put in a couple different orders, I didn't order everything from them all at once. I did get a couple of Beauty Blender cleansers, so that's nice that they threw that in there. And I also got this sheet mask, and I'm not that big of a fan of sheet mask for some reason. I know why I don't like them, but it was nice of them to put this in there. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not. It is Snell Essence Mask Sheet is what it says, and all the directions, I guess they do have some of them in English, but I think it's written in Korean or something, so I don't know where this mask came from, but I may end up trying it just to let you guys know what I think of it. It's a Snell Essence sheet mask. Sounds a little bizarre, but hey, you never know. But I think this is it for all the palettes that I got. Not that this wasn't a lot of palettes. I didn't even count them to see how many it is. Obviously, I'm going to have quite a bit to work with creating different looks for you guys and duping dupe palettes and duping the dupes with the dupes. So if there's something you want to see sooner than later, please let me know. Comment down below and let me know, but I will post a link to all the products that I used on my face in the description box, and also post a link to any of my other social media platforms. Some of these palettes, instead of doing just a full reviews on every look, I may create some looks and post them on Instagram, or make some short videos on Instagram, tutorials for you guys to watch. So you'll also want to follow me on that platform. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. You also want to hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button so YouTube notifies you every time I upload a new video. Have a great day.